Knicks, you do not want to lose the next game. If the Knicks lose this next game, the series is over.
Brunson over Shepard, the three, no, that's it. And Indiana has gone up 2-0 over the Knicks.
On page 153.
Sir, Indiana just took game 2. God damn it, where the hell is Josh Hart? NyQuil City. I hope your pillows are fluffed. Imagine that your two best players combined for 134 points across 2 consecutive games.
But it's not enough.
You maniacs! You blew it up!
And to think, just a few days ago, Yankees fans were shunning the hell out of Juan Soto. Pascal Siakam won this game for Indiana. With the way things are going, Knicks fans may turn their backs on the whole franchise. Shunning of this magnitude hasn't been seen since Disney tried to re-release Snow White.
We do not care.
In every series, it feels as though there's always one game that holds more importance than the rest. A game that, if lost, would mean the respective end to that team's season. It feels as though this was that game. Game 1 and how that ended is still very inconceivable to me. It's hard for me to truly comprehend what went wrong at the end. Hold on! My God! New York, why do you let this man do this to you? He's a minority shareholder now. And I forgot to add this in the Game 1 video. Need I remind you that he straight up gave Karl Anthony Towns the ball for the last possession?
I would just hand Karl Anthony Towns the ball right here. No, I would.
You're just, guys, you are just throwing salt in the wound here, Coach.
I'd just give him the ball. That's
exactly what he did.
You're so disrespectful.
As I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by that vicious Beyblade pass that man did. This feels as though this was the death nail game to this series. One could make somewhat of a reach that Game 1 was a fluke, or at least the end of Game 1. Sure, you may break your arm in doing so, but that was quite the anomalistic loss. That's not a word, but it is now. This game, however, Pacers didn't go away. Not only that, they stayed in control for most of the game, and they played a far better game defensively.
It was a career playoff high for you, my friend. What got you going earlier, and how did your teammates put you in a position to have this success tonight?
Yeah, I just came out aggressive. You know, at the end of the day, like, we're a team, you know. It doesn't matter who scores. That's what I love so much about this team. It's like, we don't care about who scores. We just want to win the game.
Yet another measure of a great team, letting the one with the hot hand go off and continuing to feed him. Not so much relying upon him, but just being able to recognize that the game is coming to him organically, so why not continue to facilitate that? And with this Pacers team, it can be any player game to game. Had to remind some people he's an NBA champion. And has thus far proven how underrated and brilliant his addition to this team has been. Pascal was out there playing the game of basketball like a composer from the 1700s. Pascal Sebastian. Bach would be proud. He should have had one of these on while he was playing.
What kind of shot is that?
He immediately looked at the sideline too. Look at Thibodeau's face. He's like, what is that? He said, I could have shot something better than that. There was a lot of anger and frustration at Thibodeau for not having Karl Anthony Towns out there. Karl Anthony Towns was benched a good majority of the fourth quarter. Oh, look, it's Darvin Ham. Wait a minute. Oh no, we can't have that. Check this out if you're a Knicks fan and give yourself a giggle, because some of what goes on in the skit is what many have complained is currently plaguing the Knicks, or has plagued the Knicks for quite some time. Cat had hit the top of the backboard prior to what Cam did, but playing Cam period was just not it. He gave you a painful 9 minutes, and he needs to change his name because it sounds like campaign, but he's not getting past the tutorial. He was 0 of 3 in those 9 minutes. He may not be even able to download the game. People get mad at Thibodeau for running his starters into an early grave, which yes, he has done that quite extensively. But if you've got campaign on your bench, how do you not keep the starters out there or want to do that instead of playing potential stonemasons? Tibbs not playing Cat was foolish. I don't understand the thinking behind that. especially given where you're at and who you're playing against. You should pull out all the stops. If people got to play longer, then deal with it. But how do we then get angry at him for not giving his starters more of a rest when he's got maybe an 8-man rotation to work with, possibly less than that? It's like he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. When I think roster construction is the majority of the issue with the Knicks. Pacers are an extremely deep team, and they can go basically 11 deep if necessary. They've got quality players up and down the roster. And in this current CBA, the deeper the team, the better the championship odds are. And as previously stated, no matter how good your stars play, even if they hit a majority of their shots, you will still lose games simply because your production off the bench isn't good enough, and your starters may be somewhat inconsistent or overpaid because their production doesn't match. Cat was also minus 20 on the night, and he looked pedestrian on defense at times. He already couldn't do anything with Siakam, but he also across different possessions was turned into a security cone. No, a buoy. Is he moving? Yes. But he's not going anywhere, really. Knicks were able to force more turnovers from the Pacers this game, and they also cleaned up their own turnovers. But once again, down the stretch, they just seemed to be unable to get any stops. It turned into, once again, both teams trading buckets with one another. And the only stops to be had were the Knicks stopping themselves when it came to just shooting the ball or offensive production that wasn't Brunson having to force something up. Miles Bridges was doing his thing once again in the fourth quarter, but every other player on the Knicks that managed to score in the fourth only scored 2 points. Add in Mitchell Robinson once again missing free throws. Now both Brunson and Bridges had 10 points apiece. But compare that to the Pacers and how they performed in the fourth, and you have multiple players who gave you more than just 2 points, and they also added assists and rebounds to go along with it. Miles Turner had 13 points. Nesmith didn't turn into the radioactive crackhead that he was at the end of the fourth quarter in game 1, but he had 5. Add that in with Siakam scoring, included but not limited to Haliburton, McConnell, Shepherd. The team is just too deep. Most of the roster can play both ends of the floor, and they play very well in high leverage moments. Now, the Pacers do play worse at home, particularly Nembhard, Haliburton, and Nesmith. They shoot the ball better away than they do at home, which that's just weird to me. That's weird in general to me, how some players and teams can perform better away, but not, I don't get it. So there's a hope for the Knicks. If there's a game to win, it's of course obviously game 3, but the hole that they've now placed themselves in, especially against this team, which is probably the worst to be down to in the NBA right now, it does not bode well. The Knicks need to now play as good as they did against the Celtics in the final game of that series in order to have a chance. Don't get swept now. You don't want that. The city's value would decrease dramatically if something like that were to happen, but maybe it does because your ticket prices are insane. Share your thoughts on this game in the comments below. I'd like to hear what everyone has to say on the matter. Thank you all so very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you are new, and I will see you on the next one.